Well, you know, it's interesting because at the same conference that I saw Dave Chalk, there was a woman there. It was a professional meeting who had a 2-month baby, and she was breastfeeding the baby at the back of the meeting room. And I found myself, you know, I'm a parent. I looked over and I went, oh wow. And it was progressive in my opinion, because you're right, Stephen. 10 years ago, oh my goodness, that person would have been escorted out of the room and told that that was inappropriate, or please go to the washroom.
Literally, they would have been. Yes.
Literally.
And there's still places where that happens because they haven't figured that out.
I also know someone very well known in the city who works for a company, and she actually said to me that she knew that if she chose to get pregnant in the next few years, that her career trajectory would be impacted, and so she's choosing not to. And this whole generation thing in the workplace is created by that very thing, that we are not having enough births to support the incoming workforce.
Really? And but we do have parental leaves now, right? The dads and the moms can take off. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. But the men are, you know, the women have a tough enough time, but the men are so reluctant to take it. There's a number of men who do, and that's great. But they're so reluctant because first of all, they'll get the least concern is the Mr. Mom stuff. But then they'll also be looked at, well, what are you doing taking the time off to spend time with your kids? You should be here at the workplace.
Yeah, it's looked at as abusing the system if a man takes time off for parental leave. It's
even though legally you have the right to.
Exactly.
Except that Gen X has an easier time. I am seeing in my experience that more Gen X's are demanding paid parental leave for themselves as males and saying this is my right. Well, and so yes.
Well, they might, but the difficulty is how many people I encounter in different workplaces who are saying, Stephen, are you nuts? Like there's no way that I'm going to assert myself or someone else is going to assert itself, or it's got to be a lot less time because the discrimination is against the guys.
So we're beyond the men working for women, women working for men, female boss, male boss. Have we solved those issues, do you think? Big question.
I actually would say that there's still a number of men who are challenged working for women. I think that a strong woman is viewed as maybe, if I can say it on camera, you know, a bitch, which stands for babe in total control here, by the way.
Babe. Yeah, I like that.
Yes. So there is still that perception out there, and I can say, you know, for myself as a professional, you still can run into those challenges.
Sure. Women working for women too.
Absolutely.
You know,
the same.
Men are used to working for men, but women working for women? Not always.
See, it's going to be interesting, like at Van City, where the new CEO is a woman.
And she's a smart one.
She is fabulous. And they're also the only large credit union in the country that has a female board chair as well, which is quite interesting. And
our finance minister, Carol Taylor, is missing her big time, I'll bet you.
Yeah.
Okay. Pierced noses, pierced ears, tattoos.
I just saw an article the other day. I didn't even bother reading it because I kind of dismissed it, in which it's saying, you know, don't wear. The headline was something, you know, don't wear your piercings, that kind of stuff. And do you remember the first time you saw a man with an earring? And then I remember the first time I saw a man with 2 earrings, and I just about, you know, stopped in my tracks. And how far we have come, and the tattoos and the piercings, employers have got to get over this issue because the general population is not freaked out when they are served by someone who's got a piercing. Now, if it's really, really, you know, grotesque in some way, okay, that's a different story. Just like clothing, you know, you got to have decent clothing. But you got to, like you,
like
grotesque. It's grotesque. I'll never wear this again.
So you got to change with the times, and some of it's actually going to be cultural, and we're going to be challenged on that whole notion of cultural and religious symbols. And you won't necessarily have the right to say you can't have those things.
That's very interesting. I work in a creative field, so some of us are more flamboyant. However, I haven't seen many newscasters with piercings.
But the watching of news on TV is boomers.
Can you just see it?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that'll come next. Maybe that'll come next.
But remember that, so television viewing population of news is boomers. Gen X and Y get their news via PDA or via internet. So I think we're going to see a more, in the media, people wearing it, because it's become, I mean, you go to any Starbucks or any local place and there's, well, Starbucks is the issue, but you go to some of these places and there's a lot of piercings and tattoos and all these tattoo shows, you know, LA Ink, Miami Ink. You know, this become very pop culture, very common.
Right.